Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Healthy Living Happy Midlife podcast. I am so glad you're here. I'm Denise Stegall. I am the Menopause Mentor and your host. So, today I would like you to pour yourself a cup of tea, get comfortable, because today we are talking about something that honestly changed my life. And I think it may change yours as well. What is that thing? Sleep, my friends. Now you're probably thinking, really, Denise? Sleep? A whole episode on sleep? Maybe that's it, right? But stick with me here, okay? Because this is this isn't really about getting more hours in bed. Like, make sure you are in bed between this time and this time. It's not really about that. It's about so much more. So this is truly one of the most profound acts of, bear with me, self-love that you can practice. And trust me, after 17 years of navigating menopause, I've learned a thing or two, or 10 or 20 or 50 about what our bodies really need. And truly, this is essential. This is vital to everything else that you are doing in life. So let me ask you something. When you think of the phrase self-love, what comes to mind? Maybe it's a spa day that you keep promising yourself, right? A glass of wine out with the girls. Kind of like one of those times you're like, you get all the girls together and, you guys crack up and you're laughing like to the point where you're like, your belly hurts, right? Belly laughs, right? Maybe it's finally saying no without guilt that follows you around for 3 days, right? You say no to something, oh, but somebody really wants you to do it, but you're like, oh no, sorry, I can't. And then, oh my God, for the next 3 days, you're going, maybe I hurt their feelings, right? And all of a sudden it's about them and not you, right? Those things are great, right? But what I have discovered, the most profound act of self-love isn't always something that you do. It's something that you allow. And the greatest gift you can give yourself, real, deep, restorative sleep. I see this so often with every woman I work with, even people that I don't work with. Maybe I've had a call with them or I've bumped into them at a coffee shop or whatever it may be. The one thing I see over and over and over again is exhaustion. Now, not just, oh, I need another cup of coffee, I'm tired, but serious bone deep weariness that really just makes you want to cry in the grocery store, right? You're just like, you're in the grocery store, you have to go get groceries and you're exhausted and not just tired, but really just exhausted. Like you can't go on anymore, right? But what do? We're women. We push through, don't we? Running on caffeine and sheer willpower because we are powerful women. We are strong. And we tell ourselves that exhaustion, this is just what success looks like, right? This is part of the deal, right? That being busy means that we're doing great. We've been conditioned, and I mean really conditioned here, to treat rest like a reward, something that we have to earn after we've checked every single thing off our never-ending to-do list. But I can tell you something that took me a long time to learn, and sometimes I even have to relearn this a little bit. That list will never be done, ever. There's always going to be something, right? And your body just keeps waiting for you to give it rest. It's waiting for the permission. You need to give it permission. Give yourself permission to actually stop and rest. So I kind of equate sleep is love, right? This self-love piece. Often it's, oh, we think self-love, we're going to, meditate and do all this, those things. And those things are great. That is definitely part of self-care. But this is such a big piece of self-love, right? Loving ourselves for who we are, loving our bodies. Loving our bodies, well, if you really need to hear this, loving your body, you need to sleep, right? Sleep is not about being lazy, right? It's not about, oh, I'm weak. I'm so tired. I'm weak. No, it's not anything like that. Let me think. It's not a weakness. It's not giving up or any of those things that we have been taught to believe, right? From the time we're kids, like, do well in school, do well in sports, go, go, go. And each year, you do more and you do more. Graduate from high school, you go to college and you do all the things and succeed and get a great GPA so you can get a great job, and then you get the great job and you're always striving for that next thing. Oh my God, just saying that, I'm exhausted all over again, right? Sleep, though, is the foundation of everything your body does to heal and balance itself. No wonder why we're feeling so out of balance and out of touch with ourselves, our family, our friends, even with nature, right? While you're sleeping, and I mean, when you're really sleeping, not restless tossing and turning that we've kind of gotten used to, right? Because our brain is processing all of the emotions that you've stuffed down during the day, right? You're at a meeting, somebody says something, you're a little embarrassed, but you're still in this meeting, you kind of just repress it, or, somebody says something mean to you or flips you off when you're driving, on the highway, those things, right? So when you're sleeping, your hormones are resetting also. At least they're trying to. Your cells are literally repairing themselves, right? Your nervous system finally gets to exhale when you sleep. And if you're not sleeping, what's not happening? So think of sleep as your body's nightly love letter to you. It's the moment that your body restores everything you've been depleting. You've restores everything you have depleted, right? While juggling work, family, maybe it's aging parents, and everything else that's on your plate. You always think of it as like at the circus. There's a guy that's juggling all these plates, or he's spinning all these plates, right? And at some point, something happens, and one comes crashing down, and then one comes crashing down, and then so do the rest of them, right? If we don't give our nervous system a chance to relax and rejuvenate, we're the person dropping the plates, right? If you are in perimenopause or menopause, now of course perimenopause are those years leading up to the menopause year, menopause being that 12-month anniversary not having a period. So menopause actually is one day of your life. And though we talk about it like the menopause, like that it's this whole big thing, when the actual definition is one day. Really what we're talking about is perimenopause. Okay. So obviously if you are listening to this podcast, chances are you're in perimenopause, and that love letter that I mentioned gets interrupted night after night after night, right? My flashes wake you up 2 o'clock in the morning, you're drenched. Maybe this happens 2 or 3 o'clock, 2 or 3 times a night, right? 3:30 in the morning, your brain decides to wake up, and it's a perfect time to replay every freaking awkward conversation that you have had. Maybe that day, maybe 20 years ago. Remember that argument that you really wish you'd won with that old ex-boyfriend? Yeah, all those years ago, it needs to go, right? Restful sleep starts with feeling like something that happened in another lifetime, like when you were a little kid. I remember when I was little, and my sister and I would go with my mom and dad to our Auntie Betty and Uncle Ken's house, and we'd have dinner. And then because we were little kids, they'd put us in the TV room, and we more often than not fell asleep in the TV room. And then somehow magically we would wake up the next morning in our own beds. Wow, that's the kind of sleep that I am talking about, right? So here's what I want you to know. And I really mean this, okay? This stage of life doesn't have to mean restless nights forever. Understanding what's actually happening in your body and responding with care, love, instead of criticism is one of the most powerful acts of self-love you can practice. Let me tell you something that I see all the time. There's a connection between how we rest and how we value ourselves. It's subtle, but it is powerful. So many of us spend decades in doer mode, right? I mean, doing things is great. I love to do things. I like to travel. I like to do all the things that, I can. I like going to concerts. We were just at one the other night, right? We're working on a career. We're taking care of kids. We're doing, right? Taking care of everybody else, crushing our goals. Yeah, I love that. Building careers. Okay, I'm in my mid 50s. I'm still building a career, right? Continually doing this. Again, keeping those plates spinning. But somewhere along the line, we've allowed the exhaustion that all of this equates to is like a badge of honor. I can do one more thing, even though I've slept 3 hours last night. I'm going to keep going. Oh boy, right? We wear our fatigue like a medal. It proves what? Nothing. It proves we're dedicated to what? Sure, we're good mothers, we're good employees, we're good daughters, right? We're dedicated. We can be dedicated without fatigue and exhaustion. But, however, exhaustion is not a measure of how much you care about everything and everyone, right? It is actually a warning light or a warning signal on your dashboard, flashing red, right? Bloop, 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 begging you to pull over, right? We've seen that before. You're driving down the highway and all of a sudden some random light comes on, your engine light comes on, and you think, oh, shoot, what's going on? I better pull over before my car just stops in the middle of the road. Guess what? That can actually happen to your body, right? When you let yourself rest, and again, really rest, you're not being selfish. You're actually honoring yourself, right? Rest is a boundary that says, I matter. My body deserves care. My peace is important too. When you're not sleeping and you're constantly going and going and going, your mind isn't working uh, optimally. Your body certainly isn't. Your mind is going crazy. You're tired. You're not thinking clearly. Your emotions are a disaster, right? There's no peace in that, right? Um, so what's actually going on in your body? So let's talk science for a minute. And I promise I'll keep it simple because I know sometimes I start talking a little bit of science. I get excited about it. And I know after a while, I'm like, okay, everybody's eyes are glassing over. So I promise I'll keep it simple, right? Your body is not fighting you. It's fighting to find balance during a huge, massive hormonal shift. So here's what's going on. Some of you know this, right? And sometimes we have to hear these things over and over before it like smacks us in the head, like, duh, I know this, right? First, estrogen and progesterone are all over the place, right? We talk about hormone balance. They're never in balance. Right now, they're all over. They're just fluctuating like crazy, right? And that messes with our body temperature and how you're going to sleep anyway, right? But again, we want to find a way to have these your hormones in harmony with each other. They're never going to be in balance. Like, I don't even know why we ever say that, right? But we want them to work in harmony together. Right now, with estrogen and progesterone fluctuating so much, your sleep is fluctuating as well. Your melatonin production is dropping. Now, what is melatonin? Melatonin is that hormone that actually helps you to fall asleep and then stay asleep. And during perimenopause and menopause, your body's just making less of it, right? Here's the kicker though. Cortisol, your stress hormone, is spiking at night, where melatonin's supposed to spike at night. Cortisol is supposed to decrease and melatonin takes over. This is not exactly happening. So you're lying there feeling totally wired and exhausted at the same time, right? Anybody else know what I'm talking about? Yep. Cortisol is a stress hormone. The challenge with our stress hormone is estrogen also and progesterone also keep cortisol kind of at bay. It's a little bit of a, let's again work in harmony here, right? And right now during perimenopause, they're not working together. They're all just going kind of doing their own thing, right? So understanding the why behind sleepless nights, kind kind of helps you remove the guilt and maybe some of the frustration, right? It is frustrating. I know that. Trust me, I do. Um, your body's not messed up, it's not broken, it's nothing about you. Your body's actually recalibrating, right? I like to think of perimenopause into menopause is it's a transition. Your body's evolving, okay? Evolving into the new phase of you, okay? Um, I think of deep sleep when I think of deep sleep, and I've been really fortunate in the last couple of weeks that I'm really in my deep sleep. I'm really enjoying it at night after night. Even though I've have 17 years of experience here, there are still times that, it goes a little wonky. Um, but it's really nice to know when you're in your deep sleep. Basically, think of it as your body's internal housekeeping crew, okay? They're cleaning out the toxins, they're repairing tissues. If you've had a weight workout, resistance training workout, when you're lifting weights, you're making micro tears in your muscles. And so that's actually healing at night. And that's actually what helps build muscle. Also, you're filing away any emotional clutter. Like there's so much that's coming out at us during the day. Like we can't think about all of it, right? So your body is kind of doing all of these things, right? Clearing out the toxins and really the emotional clutter, I think, is something that's interesting. During REM sleep, which we know is that deep sleep, your brain is sorting your memories and building, let's say, resilience, right? So during deep sleep, your immune system is also rebuilding. So wonder why, you're tired all the time, you're exhausted, and you keep getting a cold because you're not allowing your body to basically heal and be able to fight any colds or viruses that are in the air or around you. If you're working around people or if you have a family, you've got kids that go to school, viruses and illnesses are going to come into your house. And if your body is, if you're exhausted and you're not sleeping, you're not giving your body a chance to fight any of that. You're just going to be susceptible to it. Right. And without enough sleep, right, you're not just tired, you're undernourished literally at the cellular level. Okay. A little different way to think of it. So what do we do? How can we fix this? Like what kind of tips do I have there? Um, how do we improve our sleep? Here's the thing. Improving sleep isn't about adding a bunch of these rigid rules that you have, more rules to life, right? We've got enough of that already. We got enough rules that we have to deal with. It's about creating little rituals that feel like self-love and self-care, right? These small acts send a powerful, powerful message to your body. You're safe. You can rest. You can reset now. First thing I want you to consider is to prepare to sleep. Don't just collapse, right? I don't want you to go, 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 because I could be this. I know this. Many of you are like this because I know I can still be this way every now and then. You go, 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 go. From the minute you wake up, you're go, go, go. And then at the time, then it's like it's 10 o'clock at night and you just kind of collapse in bed. You're exhausted, right? Instead, I want you to create a gentle wind down routine, whatever that is. Maybe it's dimming the lights. Maybe it's doing some nidra yoga, some yoga stretches, simple stretches that are calming. Have some chamomile tea. Give your body a signal that it's time to shift gears, right? If you're go, 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 and you're like, okay, I'm going to sleep now. Well, no wonder why your brain is going, okay, I'm not really ready to sleep yet, right? You wouldn't expect your car to go from 70 miles an hour to a complete stop, like on a dime, would you? I guess it depends what kind of car you have. But even in my Mercedes, I know I cannot do that. Your body needs this transition too, right? You see a red light. You're like, oh, I'm going 55 miles an hour. There's a red light up here. I need to slow down before I can stop. Okay. So just think of it that way. I want you to set boundaries around your peace of mind. So what is it? So after 6 o'clock, I do not look at email. I do not look at social media. And if my phone rings, unless it's a family member or a friend, I don't answer it. Why? If it's not If it's a business or somebody who's trying to get me to do what, they can call me in the morning during regular business hours, right? Also, pick a time that you don't do the doomsday news scroll, right? Again, for me, it's 6 o'clock. I plug my phone in the kitchen. I don't ever bring it in my bedroom at night. Okay. So I'm not scrolling before I go to bed, right? You need to protect your mental space, um, because your mental space is precious, right? Scrolling at the news, going through social media, looking at all the pictures of everybody in their perfect outfits and their perfect body. And that is basically, if it's on social media, I don't know that you can believe that it's true anyway, but it messes with our emotions and our self-esteem. So we don't want to do that, right? I know it's tempting to just check one more thing. Oh, I wonder if somebody liked my last post. But that one more thing is literally stealing your sleep. Okay. Another thing. So let's say this is what, number three? Number three, soothe your senses. I'm a big fan of essential oils. I always have one or two or 10 at my desk. This one here is actually peppermint because I tend to get headaches this time of year just because of the weather's changing. They're still harvesting. So there's a lot of stuff floating in the air. So I always have essential oils. Now at my bedside, I have a lavender essential oil. Lavender is very calming. I actually also have an eye pillow that has lavender scent to it. So if I need a little extra, I just close my eyes, put that on, and it helps me to relax. A couple of other things you can do to help calm your body and calm your senses. Um, Magnesium glycinate. This actually has a very calming effect. So magnesium glycinate before you go to bed is fantastic. Um, if you ever notice that like you get stiff, if you have Charlie horses or if you get stiff muscles once you're in bed, this is also going to help in that. Um, Whatever it is that works for you to kind of calm your nervous system, maybe it's a bubble bath, right? We have a hot tub outside of our bedroom. And every now and then, that's what I want to do. I just want to take a shower or I want to go in the hot tub, right? It's calming, that warm air, well, hot tub, hot water. It's really relaxing. And then I can go into the bedroom. I can read a few paragraphs of something if I want to in a book, never in a e-reader because that brings the light, blue light that you do not want. Sometimes I'll do a little bit of journaling. I always do a bit of gratitude before I go to bed. And this helps me do this, right? These are all tools. They're not luxuries. Okay, maybe the hot tub is a little bit of a luxury, but you have a bubble bath, you have a bath, you have a shower, anything that works for you, right? And use it without guilt, right? Why would you relaxing and trying to get to recalibrate your body for the next day? Why would you have guilt around that? Number four, um, don't wait for you to be burned out before you get forced into bed, right? This kind of goes with the prepare, don't collapse thing. But preventative rest is productive rest, right? I know it sounds counterintuitive in our hustle count culture that we live in here, but it really is true. We want to make sure that rest is productive, meaning that we're allowing our body to rest and recuperate and do all the things that it needs to do, right? So preventative rest is productive rest, right? So maybe that looks like you go to bed every night at 10, right? If you go to bed at 10, you wake up at 6, there's 10 wait, there's your 8 hours. I don't know, I couldn't think of that for a quick second. So maybe that's what it looks like, right? And finally, as I mentioned a minute ago, before you close your eyes, ask yourself, how did I show myself a little bit of love today? Even if the answer is, I just made it through the day, and that's okay, right? That absolutely counts. It's okay. Now, I want to be real here. Even with all of the right habits, sometimes sleep just doesn't cooperate. It still eludes us, right? Hot flashes, night sweats, anxiety, chronic stress, all team up to keep you awake. So start thinking, I guess this is just how midlife is, right? That's what you start thinking. No, it doesn't have to be. Okay, we do need to pay attention, right? That is not the case. This is not the way midlife has to be. These are symptoms. We need to manage symptoms. Once we manage symptoms, we can then move forward. But we also have to understand our symptoms, right? Menopause gives us all of these symptoms. But what is the underlying factor? It's menopause. Okay, it's our hormones going crazy. So sleeplessness, or those nights when you're waking up all the time, this is not your new normal, right? It may be right this moment, but it's not forever, right? And that's really what my goal is here, to help you understand, okay, this is not normal. I've got to do something, because if you don't, this is just going to continue night after night, week after week, month after month, and yes, year after year, right? Keep in mind, your body is sending you a message, one that really deserves your attention. Okay. So, again, this is being realistic. What if you've tried everything and you're still lying awake at 3 o'clock in the morning? Maybe it's time to talk to your doctor, right? Persistent sleep issues can point to things like sleep apnea, maybe restless leg syndrome, thyroid problems, or side effects from some medication that you may be taking, right? And listen, if you need to take a sleep aid every now and then, that's okay too. Doesn't mean you failed. It means you're being proactive about your health. Just make sure that you check with your doctor first, especially if you're on other medications, because any over-the-counter medication has a possibility of interacting with medications that you have been prescribed by your physicians. So again, to kind of tie this up, self-love isn't doing everything alone. Okay. It's knowing when to reach out and say, hey, I need some help. I deserve to feel better. If that's the case, I'm here to listen. I'm here to support you. Your doctor is there to help and support you. If they don't have the answers that are working, let's talk. Right? I can probably help you to ask your doctor better questions, or be better prepared when you go to see a doctor. Right? Because it is about you feeling better, you thriving through midlife into this next phase of life, right? Which, if you're in your early 50s, right, you could be living for 30, 35, maybe even another 40 years. So we want to start feeling good today. So we know we're going to feel good in our 70s, 80s, and beyond. So this is something I'd like you to know. When you start treating your sleep as sacred, instead of optional, everything will shift, right? Your mood's going to lift. Those constant cravings you keep getting, whether it's salty cravings or sugar cravings, they're going to calm down. Your energy is going to come back. Of course, energy is going to come back. You're sleeping. You start seeing yourself again. And what's possible for you, kind of with a fresh set of eyes. Why? Because they're not so tired and you're not rubbing them all the time, right? When you're rested, you are radiant. You make better decisions. You love more deeply. Love yourself, love others. And you can handle life's curveballs with grace, instead of just gritting your teeth to survive, right? You can let things roll off your back a lot easier. It's so much easier to respond as opposed to react when you have a good night's sleep and you're in the right frame of mind. And sleep it's not just your body's repair mechanism, right? We've talked about that. It's actually your spirit's way of saying, I am ready to rise again. I am ready to feel good. I am ready to do great things and enjoy every day of my life. So today or tonight, I want you to give yourself permission to rest. Not because you've earned it, by checking off all things on your to-do list, because that's going to grow, but honestly, because you are worthy of it. Period. Okay? That is what self-love looked like, and it starts with sleep. So, my friends, if your nights are restless and your energy is running on fumes, I want to help. Through my program, the Midlife Metabolic Flip, I work with women just like you to restore sleep, rebalance hormones, or get them to at least work together, harmonize together naturally. And we wake up feeling They wake up feeling like themselves again. No extreme diets, no punishing workouts, just real sustainable changes that actually work. I am offering some free strategy calls. I have that link in the show notes. And also there's a link to the information about the midlife metabolic flip. It tells you everything about the program. There's even a link to register. If you're ready, just go for it and let's get you back in bed, sleeping through the night, waking, rested, and ready to tackle the day. So thank you so much for being here. Take good care of yourself. Go get some rest. And until next time, I leave you with this. As always, healthy living, happy midlife. I'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Healthy Living, Happy Midlife. My hope is that today's conversation left you inspired, encouraged, and ready to take the next step toward creating a vibrant, fulfilling life that you deserve. Remember, you don't have to settle for fatigue, brain fog, or frustration. Midlife is not the end of your story. It's the doorway to your next best chapter. And I'm here to help you walk through it with energy, with confidence, and with joy. So if you're ready to take this journey further, I invite you to schedule a free strategy call with me. The link is in the show notes. And together we'll design a plan that works for you at this time in your life, for your body. So be sure to subscribe, rate, and review your show, the show on your favorite podcast platform. Catch the video version on YouTube so you never miss another episode. Share it with a friend who needs to hear that midlife can truly be the most powerful season of her life. Until next time, I'm Denise Stegall, reminding you that healthy living, happy midlife is just possible. It's yours for the